Hello everyone. So now in this video lecture I'm going to explain you. Previously GTU asked a question that is, write JavaScript code that display the text Gujarat Technological University with increasing font size in the interval of 50 milliseconds in blue color. When font size reaches to 50 pixel, it should stop. So basically what is the expected output is, there is one text that is Gujarat Technological University with some default font size, let's say 5 pixel, okay? And in the interval of 50 millisecond, its font size should be increasing, but in the interval of 50 millisecond, and once it reaches to 50 pixel, it should stop. So this question was asked for 7 marks in January 2021. Okay, so basically if I consider this time, then it's just recent GTU paper. Okay, so now let's see what is the solution for this particular question. Now, so if you go through this particular video lecture, then you will get to know about two methods of JavaScript. The first one is setInterval method. Okay, now what is the syntax of this setInterval method and how it is used? So first of all, there are minimal 2 arguments. Okay, third argument is like a parameter 1 or like parameter 2. Okay, this is also the syntax of this particular setInterval method, but basically minimum 2 argument is required. The first one is function or expression which call itself at a particular interval in millisecond, which is given as a second argument of this particular method, setInterval method. Okay, so what is the flow of this particular function? This function let you define this will let you call particular function or expression until one method, that is clear interval, until this clear interval method is called. Okay, and when this particular function will be called at this particular interval, if I say 10 millisecond, then at every 10 millisecond this particular function will be called itself, and whenever I call this function, then this flow will be discontinued. Okay, and the second method is setAttribute method. Now basically, okay, if I say about attribute, then you can see over here I have set id attribute for particular p tag, and what is value of this id is equals to demo. Okay, so over here I have already set id attribute for this particular p tag, but it is explicitly in HTML. Okay, but if we want to set a particular attribute at a runtime using JavaScript, then setAttribute method is used. Okay, this also required 2 parameters. The first one is HTML attribute name. For example, if I want to set this id attribute for this particular p, then id is its first parameter. Okay, or I can say argument that I need to pass in single quote. After that, attribute value. What is attribute of this id is equals to demo? Yes, so over here we need to pass attribute with its value, so value is passed as its second argument. Okay, now let me write the code so that you can get better idea about that. Okay, so first of all, inside this document, doc type HTML, so that it is HTML5 supported, HTML head body. Inside this body tag I have set this id is equals to demo. Okay, like this. Now let me start one script tag over here. Okay, now inside this script tag, first of all I will get object of this particular p tag. Okay, so let's say PID is equals to document dot get element by id. Okay, and what is id of this particular tag? That is demo. So here we got this. After that, what I will declare one variable like fs for font size, and I will set it initial value as 5. So basically what does it mean? Initial font size of particular text is 5. Okay, how it will be set, I will demonstrate you just within a couple of minutes. Okay, after that, now we will define setInterval function. So over here, setInterval function return one ID, which is used in when we call clear interval method. Over here I have said that this particular method needs to be called to break this chain of calling particular function at this particular interval. Okay, so I need to pass one ID, which is written value of this particular function. Okay, so over here I need to write like variable 1 is equals to, now what is method name? setInterval. Okay, setInterval, and inside these I need to first pass function name. Let's say intimer is my function name, and at what interval I need to call this function. Now for that, you just read this particular definition once again. Write a JavaScript code that display the text Gujarat Technological University with increasing size in interval of 50 milliseconds in blue color. Okay, and when font size reaches to 50 pixel, it should stop. Okay, so now at what interval we need to call this particular function? At 50 milliseconds. That's why we need to pass 50 as a second argument. Okay, now as I have said, this is function name, so it is necessary that we need to define this function. So let me define this function is equals to intimer. This is how you can define function using function keyword in the JavaScript. Okay, so first thing I need to do is I need to pid dot inner HTML. Okay, is equals to, what I need to write is, I'm just copy pasting this over from here. Okay, Gujarat Technological University. After that, what will I do is pid dot setAttribute method. Now as I have said, first argument is attribute name. What I want to set, if I want to set particular attribute at runtime, then HTML attribute name, and over here we are referring its font size. Okay, and what is color? Color is blue. So I can write like this, setAttribute, okay, font size. So this is my attribute name. After that we need to pass its value. Okay, let me give static value over here. First of all, style is equal to font size. Okay, font size, let me set, it says it 20 pixel. After that, color is blue. Okay, so this is how can I set static value of this font size using this style attribute. Okay, it should be style over here, because over here font size is actually property name. Okay, or in CSS, over here we are setting style attribute of particular p tag. So first argument is style. Now what is value? Now let me just copy paste this. Okay, Control X, and let me pass it over here. Okay, now just focus on this particular statement in this second argument. Over here this value is passed, but over here it is 20 pixel. That means it's static value. So that particular thing I can do by just writing the statement over here, but it's not like that. What we are asked is we need to increase font size at particular interval. That means we cannot pass static value like this. So for that purpose we have already declared one variable, that is fs equals to 5. That means font size at a default value is 5, that is set over here. Okay, so over here we need to write like this. As fs is JavaScript variable name, we cannot enclose it in double quote. That's why we need to write like this. okay, and this particular statement is enclosed. Sorry, we need to put a semicolon at the end of statement. So you can see it's very similar like we write in HTML, but we are using over here setAttribute method of JavaScript. The first one is attribute name and the second one is value. Okay, we have also set color for that particular thing. Now what we said is its font size should be increased, so fs is equals to fs. Now let me increase its value by 5 pixel. Okay, now what we will do, we will put one condition over here to terminate this calling this function's calling. So for that what we will do is, if fs is greater than or equals to 50. Why 50? Because over here we have been said this like with increasing font size in interval of 50 millisecond in blue color, when font size reaches to 50 pixel it should stop. Okay, so 50 is our terminating condition. So like over here we will write, if fs is greater than or equals to 50, as I have said, we call clear interval function, and what we need to pass over here is, okay, just look at this statement. As I have said, this particular function return one id. Okay, what is its id? Variable 1. And whenever I call this particular function, what it will do is it call this particular function at every 50 millisecond interval. Okay, so once this particular function is called, it will be called at every 50 millisecond. So how to stop this? So for that you need to have one terminating condition, and in this case this one is our terminating condition, where we can call this particular clear interval function. Okay, and over here we need to pass this particular id. Don't forget this, we need to pass this particular return value. Which return value? The value which is written by this setInterval function. Okay, so whenever fs reaches to 50 or more than 50, this particular function will be called, and the chain of calling this in timer function will be break. Okay, let me save this particular thing and let me run this program. Okay, something is written over here, but okay, there is already double quote over here. Save. Okay, we got this. Okay, you can see initially its value is vary. Now if you want to see its interval, then I can set it by 1. Okay, now just see this. Okay, so at every 50 millisecond in timer function is called and its font size is increasing by 1. Just see. Now if I increase its difference, like at every interval font size is increasing at a 10 by 10, you can see. Okay, you can see the changes in output. So now it's our expected output, but let me add some styling over here, like style. Okay, now inside the style attribute for p tag I will write something like this: position is equals to absolute. After that top is equals to 50%. After that left is also 50%. Okay, now let's see what's the change in the output. You can see we are getting this particular thing at the kind of center. Okay, for your satisfaction. Okay, you can see the changes. Okay, if I modify this with one more CSS property, that is transform, and I need to translate by -50 -50. Now let's see what is the change in the output. You can see Gujarat Technological University. Previously it was like Control X. Let me save this, and you can see it's like this. Okay, this whole portion is increasing, so but it's not in centered. So if I write something like this, then you can see, okay, we got our output. So this is what students were asked for in January 2021. Okay, so this is the expected code. Now if you are asked like once it reaches to 50 pixel, then its font size should be decreasing. Then what you need to do? For example, in this particular case, if it reaches to 50, okay, then we have set this code for increasing font size. But now if I want to change it in reverse order, then what you need to do is you just need to call one particular. In that case also we need to pass this particular method. Okay, what is it? Is it setInterval? Okay, so over here we will call dtimer method, and we will also call this particular method at interval of 50 milliseconds. Always remember, the second argument is passed with unit is in millisecond. Okay, so 50 is not 50 second, but it's a 50 millisecond. Now as I have set this inTimer method over here, we also need to call dtimer method. Okay, so let me define this particular function. So this particular function, and after that function dtimer, function body, and over here it's very simple. We need to pass this, but first of all fs is equals to fs minus 1. Okay, and I will write this with red, and as I have said that there has to be one terminating condition. So for in this case, if fs equal let's say 10, what we will do is we will call clear interval method, and what we need to pass over here is id. What is id for this dtimer function call? Okay, it's variable 2, as we have passed variable 1 over here. In this case, when we are performing reverse, we also called this particular method setInterval method. Okay, and what's id in this case is variable 2, so we need to pass variable 2 over here. Okay, so that this particular calling of particular function, it should stop. Or if we do not set this clear interval method, whenever we close our window, then only we can stop this chain. So let me save this particular function and write. Okay, you can see the changes. Okay, so over here we have increased its font size, and we have also decreased its font size whenever it reaches to 50. But now what we need to change is, you can see over here, okay, this interval is customized value. Okay, you are given that whenever it reaches to 50 pixel, then it should stop. Okay, and interval is 50 millisecond, so we have set it like this, 50 millisecond. And in this particular solution, this part is optional. Okay, it is not required. You are just asked for this particular portion. Okay, only whatever is over here in blue color. Okay, so I hope you are getting my point. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.